Pica Poco Kitchen. Today we're making grilled cheese. Vámonos! If you're American and I say grilled cheese, you might be thinking of a sandwich. But I'm actually talking about grilled cheese. And please indulge me with this one. I've been craving grilled cheese for a while. I follow this lady, her name is Divis Oaxaqueña. She's on Instagram and on YouTube, and she makes vlogs of her daily life. She lives in California, but she's originally from Oaxaca. The recipes she shares, they're just simple and delicious, and it brings that feeling of homemade. Since I watch her, I'm hungry all the time, and I've been craving some cheese with beans and a nice homemade salsa. So please follow along with this one. Very simple and delicious. Let me start by making a cheese. I've been slightly tweaking how I make my cheese just to see how different techniques or different temperatures alter the end result. I have found very few changes, but let me show you what I did here. I started by adding 1 gallon of whole milk to my pot. And something I do consistently is once I put my milk in the heat, I try to stir consistently from time to time and also keep an eye on the temperature, keep checking it. If you leave your milk in the pot be once it's on the fire, you're gonna start creating a layer in the bottom that it's gonna burn, give your cheese a burnt taste, and also be impossible to clean. This time I added my curdling agent at 90 Fahrenheit. I used 1 teaspoon of citric acid in hopes of getting some sort of acidic flavor, which in the end it didn't happen, so it's optional, and half a cup of white vinegar. As soon as I added that, I stirred softly and let my pot be in the lowest setting of fire, or heat in this case. After 15 minutes of low heat and constant stirring, and once all my curds were forming, I turned off the heat, put the lid back on, and waited for another 15 minutes. After those 15 minutes, I uncover my cheese and you can see how much the whey has separated. At this point, I'm going to take out the cheese curds, trying to keep them together. I'm looking for a compact cheese with low moisture and a firm texture. Once you have all the curds out, it's a good moment to add your seasoning. I just added salt. And then with the help of a spatula, I squeezed out as much liquid as I could, making sure to push the curds together in the most compact way I can. I transfer my cheese into a mold. I got this from Amazon, but if you don't have it, you can leave it in your strainer with some weight on it, which can be a smaller bowl that fits on top of it. Wrap it with plastic and let it sit in your fridge. This can be due overnight. And now let's make our side of black beans. I have 1 cup of black beans that I left soaking overnight and then drained. Put them in my pressure cooker and cover them with enough water. Add a quarter of an onion and 2 garlic cloves. Season with salt and pepper and 1 teaspoon of epazote, or of course fresh epazote if you are lucky enough. I like cooking my beans in the pressure cooker because they're fast and they end up tender and exactly to the point where I want them. I'm gonna put them in for 22 minutes with natural pressure release of another 20 minutes. And to finish them up, we're gonna fry them in some lard. I like to use 1 tablespoon of lard, but of course you can substitute that for oil. And let's saute some onion and 1 garlic clove. Once they're nice and fragrant, you can add your beans. But if you desire, at this point, you could add 1 chopped serrano pepper, and that will bring a nice heat to your beans. I didn't have any, but if you do, do so. Or even some jalapeno will do too. Add your beans with their water, their garlic and onion. Season. Put the lid back on and let them break to a boil. And now they're ready and you can set them aside. And to make this lunch even more delicious, I'm gonna make some fresh salsa. In my pan, I put some aluminum just to make the cleaning easier. And I'm gonna add half an onion that I chopped in pieces because the more color it gets, the more flavor. I'm also gonna add 2 Roma tomatoes that I cut in halves, 2 garlic cloves, and to make it a little bit spicy, I'm gonna add 3 Árbol peppers. Keep both your peppers and your garlic moving in the hot oil so they don't burn. And remove them as soon as they get some color and your peppers start to puff up. I'm gonna make my salsa by hand, but you can do this in a food processor or a blender. I will just recommend not to puree too much, just do some rough chops. I'm gonna start with the garlic, the peppers, and salt to break those down first. The garlic and salt will help break down the peppers, and also frying them helps. So just be patient and keep smashing. Once that part's done, we can move on to the softer ingredients. So I like to start with the onions just to make sure to break it down and introduce a little bit of liquid to my salsa. And now we can add our tomatoes. This part is going to be easier, but you just have to be careful not to splash everywhere. So start by smooshing them and then you can move on to mixing. Clean the sides of your molcajete so you can present it in it, and taste for seasoning, and of course, so you can warn your guests if your salsa pica poco. At this point, your cheese should be firm, so we can proceed to cut it into strips or squares or whatever other shape you want. Do it as thick or as thin as you want. I do recommend sticking around the inch width because that way the cheese won't completely melt down and it will still maintain some nice bite. Let's move on to the grill. In a little bit of oil, I'm going to fry both sides of my cheese, but you could do even 4 sides if you want. Flip them over until they're nice and gold, and feel free to flip them once more if you think they need more color. And lunch is ready. And here we have it. Nice golden melty cheese with a good salsa on the side and some black beans that, if I tell you how many days I've been dreaming with these beans. Let's dig in. Homemade tortillas, not as perfect as the one that Divis make. Go ahead and watch her content because it's worth it. Let me get just a piece of one of my cheese. Some salsa. And you know that feeling when you've been craving something and you finally get it? Oh, it's like itching an itch. Delicious. Nice, delicious. What can I say? I hope you give it a try. Please follow Divis Oaxaqueña in Instagram and YouTube. I don't have the pleasure to meet her, but I'm doing this thanks to inspiration of her channel, and I do it with all the love in my heart. If you do go follow her, her content is in Spanish, but it doesn't matter. You will really get the gist even if you don't speak Spanish. And Trust me, you're gonna be hungry just after watching all her videos. So let me enjoy my craving for a little bit. Thank you for indulging me. Love to see you, and I hope to see you next time. If you like this video just like this recipe, please share it with your friends, like, subscribe, and be notified. And for more, follow me on the socials. Adios, amigues.